All right, I guess it's 5 after we get started. I'm Mike. I am the MC this week. So this is a weekly community call for Falco. It's a CNCF project. So we abide by the CNCF code of conduct, which means basically be a good human, treat people with respect, do the right thing. And with that, I posted the HackMD in the chat. And so let's check it out and see. I don't know if anybody has any highlights or agenda items they want to add. So I think that's where we're at right now. Or we can just say, awesome, good to see everybody.
Just take a look at the last blog posts we released in the last few days. For example, we released the recap from Radish, I think. He's the intern for the Google Summer of Code. He's developing a playground for Falco rules. Basically, the idea is to compile Falco into WebAssembly and be able to run and test rules directly in your browser. So he's managed by Jason. Everybody knows Jason. You can take a look at his post about that. We also released 2 hours ago a blog post. It's a collaboration between us, the Falco maintainers, and Tidal. I still don't know how to pronounce exactly TIDA, but the idea was to integrate Falco and its rules inside the community matrix. This matrix is an overview of the meter attacks, techniques, and techniques. Meters framework is a way to categorize techniques to hack systems, platforms, and products. And so with their community matrix, you can have a basic overview of all techniques that are covered by the Falco default rules. We also recorded with Nigel an interview, and we discussed about what has benefits for Falco to follow the meter framework. We'll move on for sure. We have some members in the communities, French people, in that case, that would like to work on the coverage of the meter framework by Falco rules. Apparently, in the last months, the meter frameworks got a huge upgrade. So the tags we have currently are not still correct. We need to pass over all the rules and change the tags and replace them. And they are trying to create something to automatize that, or at least to enhance user experience to add the tags. It's the beginning, so it's the discussions I have with them and with Melissa Kilby. We'll follow up in the next month, even if we have holidays soon. I don't have anything else to say.
I just added a note that we kicked off the Falco on Tour events. We were in 7 cities, I think, last week: Dublin, London, Paris. I think there's one more in Europe that I missed. Dallas, Austin, and Colorado in the United States. And then we did a virtual one. So maybe that wasn't 7 cities. And there was 200 attendees across all those events, but most of those were the virtual. So right now we're trying to figure out how we can do better recruitment, because in the live events, we only had a couple of people show up for a few cities. So we want to see if we can make that better. We were supposed to be in Seattle and Bellevue this week, but due to some personal things, I had to reschedule that. And so we're taking a pause this week, and we're trying to decide what we're going to do next week. Next week here in the States, it would have been Los Angeles, Irvine, and San Diego. I'm not sure what the plan was in Europe. I'd have to look it up, but there's a link to the site there in the notes. Overall, though, I will say the people that have attended the workshop really are impressed with Falco, and they're impressed with the content. It's just a question of getting more people in the room, so that we can get the word out more broadly, and we're not spending a bunch of money, flying around, a bunch of money and time flying around, if we're only getting a few folks.
We are good for this week.
Yeah.
Is that it? Anything else?
Maybe Jason
Just
has
to follow
something
up
to say.
on
Yeah, I was super late. I'm really sorry, everyone. But
Shame on you. Shame on you.
yeah, shame on me, for real. Maybe some updates on the upcoming patch release. So I received some help from Lorenzo, which is not here, well, whatever. And so he is helping me along with other maintainers. And thank you, Andrea, as well, as you here, for basically patching and tagging Falco Security libs. So now we have a 0.11.3. Basically, everything is the same as before, but we fixed a couple of bugs. Now it's better. Especially, Andrea worked on the core support for all the G-key issues that we have been reported, and I fixed a couple of stuff in the new plugin features. So now we're working on integrating all that into Falco and syncing that with the release branch for 0.35. And my plan is to tag a 0.35.1 by the end of tomorrow. And then, yeah, basically, again, it will be the same 0.35 that we saw a couple of weeks ago, but with few bugs fixed. A couple of those also involve the driver loader and the compatibility with drivers. So yeah, that's basically my update. Hopefully the CI will not betray us like it usually does before the release time. And yeah, just that.
All right. And someone might want to expand on that in the HackMD. I just wrote one sentence that was pretty fast. So,
Yeah.
all right. Anything else? All right. I guess that's it for this week. So thanks for joining. But
Someone is coming. Sorry, I've just been contacted by Kaioke, and I mentioned the guy from France that are working on the coverage of the meter framework by the rules. He missed the call, and he's supposed to come right now. So if we can wait just a couple of minutes, he will be there to
sure,
explain.
of course.
Not Kaioke. Okay, it's not exactly the same. We are not talking about Dragon Ball, but or maybe it's a nickname. I don't know. Louis C. Okay, it's a nickname. Welcome, Louis. Can you hear us? You're on mute.
Hi, everyone.
I told everybody you are currently working on improving the coverage of the meter framework techniques and so on by the Falco rules. If you want to explain a little bit more about what you are trying to do, the mic is yours.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. So I'm Louis, and I am working for Thales France, and I'm working on the characterization of attacks, and in particular where when we detect an attack with Falco rules, for example, how we can analyze the behavior based on technical tactics and practicals based on the Mitre attack framework. So we started to inspect the rules of Falco, and especially with the extra tags involving Mitre attack TTPs. So we started to detect some errors. So I started to implement a little script in Python to list all the errors in the rules. So I'm currently finishing to implement the script to make it a pull request in Falco rules repository, so that everybody can benefit from it. We are currently using the rules also to establish a dashboard for Grafana, a Mitre attack dashboard, something like a title just released yesterday, actually. So it's quite a coincidence, but we want to make it public and open source on GitHub. So we will share or I will finish to develop the dashboard on Grafana for the Mitre attack framework, and I will keep you in touch when I finished it, so you can benefit from it too. So basically, I'm very interested in some questions and discussions I had with Melissa.
Yeah,
One of the
we can't
discussion
hear
was
you. Can you repeat your last sentences, please? No sound.
sorry. So beyond the Mitre attack dashboard of Grafana and the script to detect the errors in the Falco rules, we had with Melissa Kilby. I think she's a new maintainer of the Falco rules repository, and discussions with H. Kondry from the Falco community. So the discussions were about how can we be sure that the extra tags are correct regarding the detections of the syscalls of the Falco rules. So it's quite difficult because today nobody can ensure me that a tag is correct, but an expert in Mitre attack and an expert of Falco, and I have no way of detecting or to automatize the check of the Falco rules regarding the Mitre attack, because the script I propose is only checking that the technique in the extra tags is correct regarding the tactic. So it's pulling the data from sticks to a database maintained by Mitre CTI. So I can fetch the data and check the technique is correct regarding the tactic, but I have no way to to be sure that the technique and the tactic tag is correct regarding the syscalls. For example, if I make some syscall that detect a shell spawn in a container based on cloud native technologies, how can I be sure that the tag I put in the extra tags is, for example, a remote service execution, for example. So I think it's a challenge, and so I want to propose to the Falco community a working group to discuss this subject, this topic, and I want to know if you're interested in it.
Any comment about that?
I think many people like involved usually with rules are not here. So I think maybe you can open an issue in the rules repository trying to launch the idea, and eventually people will gather there, trying to show some support. For now, I can just say thanks for like the proposal and stuff. That's really cool. I think Melissa will be interested, but she's not here today.
As we know, I have a dedicated repository for the rules, something we did not have before, but right now we have a dedicated repository. We can integrate the CI we want. We can do unit tests and be sure the tags are following any convention. It's just hard to enforce contributors to follow all these rules, especially because it's a community-driven repository, and we must have a certain level of quality, but maybe enforcing people to add tags to follow the Mitre frameworks could be tricky and make them giving up to contribute for that. So we need to keep the balance between the facility to contribute and the quality. It's our topic, but at least for the existing rules, we need something to improve the coverage and be sure we are still following correctly the framework, Mitre framework.
Yeah, I agree, and thank you, Stanley Chan. I don't know if I pronounce it correctly, so sorry. But thank you for pointing some people to the rules report to just check the discussion.
Let's open a discussion about that, and we will have more feedbacks, especially with the shift between all time zones, where Falco is a real worldwide project. We have people from everywhere, so it will be easier if we can continue asynchronously.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Luis. I think we are good.
Yeah, I was muted. Anything else for this week? If not, we can wrap up and we'll see you folks, same bat time, same bat channel next week. All right. Have a good rest of your week.